Okay. I'm David Lowe. I'm the founder of Origin of Cool. We just launched our Kickstarter, which is called Uberpong, and the aim with that is to combine great graphic design, illustration and art with ping pong. So I would say the biggest hurdle was coming to the US 4 months ago from the UK and having to build my network from scratch. South by Southwest was the first event that I hit just after I got here. So that was a great chance to meet people, meet bloggers and talented people in the startup community like yourselves. And straight after that was a very good event called Rise, which was celebrating entrepreneurship. So that was a whole week of startup sort of seminars and getting around talented entrepreneurs like Robert Rodriguez. I would say just the simplest of things, like not being able to drive at the moment because I'm having to take my test again over here because we drive on the left in England and it's the right over here. So I've had to improvise and try and get a lot of people to come and meet me downtown in Austin and just kind of get around the fact that I can't drive. Other things that have tripped me up, I would say having to learn very, very fast about, or very quickly, about certain things in the industry I'm in and the key players in the US and also in Austin as well. And I've found, it's the whole startup thing is just, it's unbelievable how you have to put on so many different hats every day. There's going to be some areas that you're going to realize very quickly what your weaknesses are as much as your strengths. And so, as much as anything, it's just trying to get through those weaknesses to a point where you can actually bring people into the business and maybe hire them or get interns in and get some help. So I would say the entrepreneurship week called Rise is in Austin I think it's now every March. It's just after South by Southwest. That was a fantastic resource because it got me around fellow entrepreneurs, but it also got me introduced to a few partners who are now a part of this business, and so that was key. Apart from that, I mean, there's obviously the Startup Weekly, Startup Nation. There's a lot of good resources in Austin for entrepreneurs, like Network in Austin, and I'm just trying to think of the list. There's quite a few anyway, and also networking events as well. Austin's got that real startup vibe and community. So it means that there's always going to be a startup event in the week, or it could be the weekend, but there's always something going on. Okay, that's the hardest question I've ever been asked. Which abyss am I standing on the edge of? I guess it's the aim with Uberpong is very much to kind of take ping pong or table tennis from the basement to the big time, if you like. So it's getting it into the mainstream, getting more people playing, making it more fun and accessible, and ultimately bringing colour into the sport. But I think there's that moment when you think, am I trying to sell out here almost, and just make it just make it a commercial pursuit, and that's really what I don't want it to be. I want it to be very successful, but I want it to actually change the sport, yeah. And so could you class that as being on the edge of an abyss? Possibly. Apart from that, it's just it's that feeling of, you get a lot of entrepreneurs talking about standing on the, standing in a kind of doors being open on a plane, and they're just about to go skydiving for the first time, and then they jump, and then there's that feeling of not having, not knowing if that parachute's going to open. And I think that's like right now, that's sort of how it feels, is it's just kind of, it's free fall. And so yeah, so yesterday was that when I hit launch on Kickstarter, and it was live, 12, it was like noon yesterday, and I hit launch. That was that jumping out of the plane moment. It was, and when the first 3 people backed after 15 minutes, that was kind of like the parachute opening just slightly. And when we hit the 10K, that's when it will fully open, and we'll fall safely to the ground. I think having read a few key startup books, listening to entrepreneurs and their stories, that's the real driver, and also and constantly wanting change, because having worked for big corporations and being the small cog in the big machine, I think the ability to be able to wake up every morning and be able to make a change. And so launching Uberpong, building the Origin of Cool brand, and changing something. Yeah, if you can do that every day, that's pretty empowering. Yeah, and I think, and that keeps me going. Yeah, that idea that it's the analogy of the band playing on stage, and there's an audience of 100, and they affect, if they can affect one person positively and get one person to walk away thinking that they changed their life for the better, then that's pretty cool. So that's the thing that keeps me going. Yeah, wanting to reach people, and you can do that online as well. That's the beauty of that. You can reach anybody in the world with this, and that's powerful. But I think ultimately, saying that, I'm very keen on building the Uberpong community in Austin, Texas, and making that the kind of physical extension of the brand, so people can use the paddles. They can have a lot more fun playing. But yeah, we're building it locally first. So, there's the obvious ones which I won't reel off, because probably everybody on Startup Weekly mentions these the Steve Jobs and the Bransons and all those guys. But I would say, my parents inspire me. My dad inspires me, because he ran his own business for 30 years, sold that, made a success of it. It's a tough business. My grandparents inspired me because they actually went to Australia in the 60s and emigrated and started a new life there. So that was kind of, when I saw them over there, that immediately planted the seed for me, and said that I could function, and operate and be successful anywhere in the world. So that was inspiring. Yeah. And as far as business people, let me think. I would say really it's you've got the big boys, but it's also just it's startup people. It's people who are starting the first businesses, and it's getting around those people. And Austin so far has been just so inspiring, because I'm around people who are running online businesses and what's it called? Co-working. There's a co-working space here in Austin, so I know the guys over there. There's a fitness website. It's a friend of mine who runs that, and then just so on. Yeah, so it's being around people doing who are in the same boat really. Musicians, artists, filmmakers. Being around those kinds of people, that they're the people who really inspire me as well.